Hey there, Rivermen fans. I'm Jason Ruff. It's time for another Trudel's Take, presented by Premier Epoxy. Jason Ruff joined once again, and as always, by Rivermen head coach Jean-Guy Trudel. Guy, the Peoria Rivermen 4-0-1 in their last 5 games. I want to start with the Quad City series. Tough loss in the shootout on the road. Granted, Quad City is one of the best post-regulation teams in the league this year. But then you come back in Bloomington, and I thought that was an outstanding game, outstanding atmosphere. And Nick Latinovic, what a bounce back. 18 saves for the shutout.
Yeah, I think that's the place where we discovered our identity and what we are as a hockey team. We spoke about it all year, kind of scratching and clawing to find who we really are and how to play. We know, you have your structure, you do all your little things daily, but for us it was really kind of scratching deep to see who we were as a hockey team and how we should play to have a lot of success. And I think our D-core the last 4 or 5 games have been stepping up big time, and then everybody's following suit. And I think our biggest thing is we discovered that line of Pietrowski, Barker, Zapata, that is exactly what our identity is. So, it's the B. We call it the PZB line now.
PZB,
that's our
go,
identity,
right?
PZB identity. So that's what we're going with. And I thought they played extremely well and kind of showed everybody else the way that we want to play here in Peoria.
And Tristan Trudel, how about that fight right off the draw? I know you weren't there to see it, but man, that got the crowd riled up real fast.
Yeah, and I fighting is part of the game. Sometimes something happened last game, and Tristan wanted to step up for his teammates. But the biggest thing was the crowd. It was I think every game we played in Bloomington the last 2 years, both games, is they're really into it because they get only one game a year. You get the full shebang, and it's fun to hear the crowd in that place right now because they have a perfect size arena. I mean, like even if you have 4,000 or 5,000, it looks like it's absolutely packed, and it's fun. It's just fun to play there, and I think the boys were pretty pumped. But again, you still have to play the right way, and I think, like I said, we found who we are as a hockey team.
So I want to bring that back to just a little bit of quick story from our perspective, how these kinds of bouts right off the draw can really impact how a broadcast or how a game starts, both on the ice and in terms of the broadcast booth. About a year ago, I remember playing Quad City, and I remember looking at the line chart and looking with David Minion, and he straight up told me there's going to be a fight right off the draw. Because I think you had Alec Bear was the only non-fighter out on the ice. Everyone else, you had Hageman, Mitch McPherson, you also had Alex Carey right on the front wing, and you had and Zach Wilkie, and then Alec Bear, and you had Alec Bear positioned as the defenseman closest to the bench. So if something were to happen, he could come off. And everyone, I think, in that press box was expecting a fight. Didn't happen. Flash forward to Bloomington. Tristan told me, he's like, yeah, I'm gonna fight him right off the draw if I start. I'm like, okay. And then I get the lineup card. I see Tristan. I see Moran. It's like, oh boy. Okay, it's on. So that completely changes up the preparation, but that's a way to get really good momentum right off the draw and set the tone early, especially, like you said, in a raucous atmosphere and fans who really want to get a reason to get excited.
Yeah, I think it was great. I'm not a fan of those type of fights, to be honest with you. I think it was more of, I said over the last few games, they're trying to go after our best players. And unfortunately, if the officials don't take care of it, we have to take care of it ourselves. And that was the case again that game. We, sometimes you understand what's going to happen. I've been in the game a long time, so you do what you have to do to make sure our skilled players are able to play out there free and be able to play fast and free and not kind of the last few games. I mean, it's pretty obvious to see what they were trying to do. And like I said, if it's not taken care of by a certain way, then we have to do it our own way. And unfortunately, we got suspended for it. But that's part of the game also. We want our skilled player to have confidence and feel free that they are protected by somebody.
Keeps a role for the enforcer. I feel like the enforcer is kind of almost becoming an endangered species, at least in the upper levels of professional hockey. But there's still a role for the enforcer, I think, in today's game, especially here in the SPHL.
Hockey's still a warrior's sport. So even if you don't have an enforcer, you have to be team tough no matter what. And you have to be able to take care of each other all the time out there. And like I say, it builds a lot of trust and confidence within the team knowing that you can play play fast, play a certain way, even if you are not a physical guy, that your team has your back at all times.
Speaking of team tough and guys having each other's backs, Nick Latinovic, he goes from having a really tough game in that Quad City shootout loss to then rattling off 2 straight shutouts, one in Bloomington, the other on Friday against Fayetteville, to become the league leader in terms of shutouts. How has his bounce back really galvanized this team? And likewise, how has this team completely supported him and really bringing him back up to being now the SPHL Player of the Week?
Yeah, I don't think it was as bad as people think. He has a shootout. I mean, it wasn't great, but the rest of the game, there's every game has its own story. When you really, really break down the game and look at video and at every single shot, I don't think he played bad in Quad City. I just thought, we gave too many chances from the slot, back door, and also there's always a goal or two a goalie's going to want back, even though that it's a good goal. Like even the shot from the blue line, it tip off a shin pad. Nobody saw it on video, but it's hard for a goalie to see those things. So I always like to go back to video and understand the why. But if you look at even before the Quad City game, Nick was playing great for the last 7-8 games. So for me, I think he stepped up his level. I think about 2 months ago. He went through a little funk, and then after that, he stepped up his level, and now you can see. And I think, people don't know, but a lot of our athletes are playing banged up a lot of game, and that has a lot to do with the way they play sometimes also. So we only have a roster of 19 players. So those players, even hurt, injured, not feeling great, they still have to play, unfortunately, and that's what people don't see. But just the resiliency and the toughness that he showed even before that, what he was dealing with was pretty amazing.
Absolutely true, Guy. But even you have to admit, I think the Nick Latinovic we're seeing right now this past week or two is even better than the Nick Latinovic we saw even a month ago when he was really starting to pick up speed. This is a Nick Latinovic that I remember hearing about before we go play in Hunts. It was like, oh, you hear about this goalie? He's not letting anything through.
Yes and no. I believe it's a team. Everything, like, if you give up a goal, there was 5 players in front of you that could have done something about it. I believe right now we're playing Peoria Rivermen hockey. We're giving the shots from where we want to. And, of course, your goalies have to make the first save, but it's a lot easier to make your first save if you know where it's coming from and if it's not from a danger area all the time. And I think lately we're giving up 5, 6, 7 scoring chances in the whole game, and that's with all the power plays the other teams are getting. So I think Nick will tell you himself that he's pretty happy also with the defense in front of him and the way we play hockey. So I think it's a full team effort right now. Don't get me wrong. You have to have your rock back there, but we knew that since the beginning of the year. We knew Nick was going to be our rock, and he's showing it right now.
Now, speaking on defense, it's very interesting. The last couple of weeks, we've seen a forward, normally Jordan Ernst, come back and play defense for pretty much, the last 10 games, a couple of weeks. And then also last couple of weeks, you've seen a defenseman, Braden Barker, come up and play forward, and both are killing it in their respective roles. Why is that?
Because they played there before. Barks was only a defenseman, I think, his last year of college. Before that, he was always a forward. And then after that, Ernie played some defense, he said, when he was in Major Junior. So for us, it was understanding that they already played those roles. And then it takes a little while because, there's specific things you have to do at both positions. But I think Barks is just bringing that energy, that physicality, and our identity that we wanted as a hockey team. And he's doing it extremely well with passion. And I said that about 4 months ago. Barks is now a real Riverman. He's part of the crew. He's part of the Halleck Ackerman and those guys that we rely on day in, day out, no matter what his position is on the ice. So we got 2 real Rivermen right there in Ernie, and Ernie's just been a beast this year. Forward, D, it doesn't matter, but we feel like he brings a lot more as a D right now than he would as forward because we have a little bit, we have quite a bit of depth on forward. On defense, I don't feel like we have those offensive defensemen except for Wilkes that can bring it every day. I think Chase Spencer is coming along. I think those guys are coming along, but we need another guy that can carry that puck and make those plays back there.
And who can have just a wrist shot, not even slap shot, but a wrist shot that can. Let's put it this way: if it hits you, it's gonna sting for a while.
Yeah, he's got a cannon. He's got a cannon, and he uses it. I mean, and to me, having a great shot is one thing. Releasing it quick is another thing, and that's what he's really good at. He's looking to shoot, and sometimes back there, you got to remember everything's in front of you. So when you see guys in shooting lane, you're a little nervous. Ernie's not nervous. He doesn't care. He's letting it go no matter what, and it's what we want. When we have a chance to put pucks at the net and when we have numbers at the net, it's really important.
I remember you and I were talking briefly about Jordan Ernst, and part of the reason I think that you had mentioned why he's having success is that he can see the ice a little bit better. When you're in forward, and I remember this from when I played, youth hockey and played high school, when you're in forward, everything looks like it's right in front of you, right in front of your face. When you're on defenseman, you're having a little bit more time to kind of see things kind of how they come to you, and you can react a little bit and see the play. And obviously when you have the eyes, the hockey sense, and the speed that Jordan Ernst has, it makes it a lot easier to make plays.
Yeah, as a winger especially, that's where his position is as a winger, as soon as you get a puck, you have a D gapping right there. And some players, and I think Jordan is a very good winger too. It's not like he's not a good winger, but I do believe that we're lucky to have those real Rivermen that will play anywhere to help the team win. Mm-hmm. And he understands right now he's better on D for us to have success.
Yeah.
And he's accepting his role and running with it. And because if he would have been a D all year, I mean, he's playing like a D of the year candidate.
Yeah,
I mean, he's playing phenomenal, and we're lucky. We're lucky that we have great people like that accept their roles no matter where they're at. And I remember when I changed him, I'm like, hey, I'm thinking, he's like, yeah, whatever, coach, I'll play whatever, and I'll. Do what I do. So he's phenomenal. We're lucky to have Ernie over here.
If he were playing defenseman, he'd be pushing Wilkie for most points among defensemen in the league right now. That's how good he'd be.
All guaranteed.
Yeah.
And he's just getting better at his gaps and getting better at everything also. And like I said, even if he does go a little bit too much offense or cheats a little bit, then his speed is able to come back and catch up, and actually he's got a better gap that way. So it's even better. So no, he's been a blessing for us, and we're going to keep going with that until we see something different.
That comeback speed, I think, is very important because I think it's easy for someone who has been playing for a forward so much to have that attacking mentality and then, I got to get back. But again, like you said, he has the closing speed that he can get back. And
that's a perfect example of Chase Spencer. We watched a lot of video this week and made him understand that we want him to be an offensive force, and you can see this weekend he was carrying the puck a little bit more. But even because you're going to make a mistake, hockey's a game of mistake. Even when he did make a little mistake or he was caught a little bit, he would just had enough speed to come back and be right there. So we want our D to be a part of everything we do offensively. And I think they're starting to grasp on that concept. Because again, remember Chase, Moore, Dobe, those are all new guys that's just been with us for a little bit. And we didn't have that much practice time in the last month and a half just because of the long travels and stuff like that. So it's kind of nice for those guys to kind of pick up what we want from them.
I think all that coming together this past weekend, the Rivermen hosting the Fayetteville Marksmen, who at the time were in second place. Rivermen previously went on the road, lost 2 games in Fayetteville, now come back here, sweep the Marksmen in 3 games. What did this team show you in those 3 games in that sweep against a second-place team, now third-place team?
I honestly believe that it's the first time of the year that we buy in. We're now at 4 games in a row where we buy in and playing team hockey. There's 0 cheating. Our rotations in all 3 zones are great. Our D's gap have so much trust in our forward back checking because they can gap right at the red line right away. We can squeeze. We're physical. And when we do that, we're a very good hockey team. And I do believe we're extremely disciplined this weekend. Unfortunately, the little incident when they go after your best player all the time, something happens. Unfortunately, the official weren't calling it, and we had to do something about it, and that's going to happen. But everything else, we were extremely disciplined. It's when you come together as a team and you decide that you're going to do what's best for the team when you have the puck, when you lose the puck, you become a very dangerous hockey team. And we were hunting offensively, we were hunting defensively. It's just beautiful hockey. Beautiful hockey,
and the big battle, I thought, that entire weekend, the number 1 Fayetteville power play against the number 1 Rivermen penalty kill. I think Fayetteville got 1 power play goal that entire weekend, and the Rivermen, I guess you could say, they canceled out because they got a shorthanded goal. Granted, it was an empty netter from J.M. Piotrowski, but still, that battle really I thought was kind of a microcosm of the entire weekend. How did that battle develop for you? What did you like seeing from your special teams really match up against Fayetteville's?
Just keeping going with the process. You do your pre-scout and you know what they do. I thought we got exposed in Fayetteville that trip. I wasn't there in Fayetteville and Roanoke, and I saw on video we got exposed because we were running a little bit because they do rotate a lot. And we just, we were laughing about it. We were watching video on it, and we just start playing like chicken with our heads cut off and just running around, and that's not who we are. Usually we know what we're doing. We're giving shots from where we want, and we're dictating what we're going to do in the neutral zone. I don't think we were that in Fayetteville, and we bought in here, even missing some of our penalty killers, and Andrew Durham and Hags and those guys. Zapata stepped up big time on the PK. I thought Drapluk and Jimmer combination, and then our D were just phenomenal, just buying in. Our triggers were fast, and we know what they have, and we just had to kind of stop them. Like you said, the only one we give up was those things are going to happen. Ernie tried to clear the puck, missed it completely, went to their guy. That's going to happen, and that to me, I will never get mad at that because everybody did the right play, and sometimes the puck's going to bounce on you. There's nothing you can do. So I thought even that goal, it wasn't really something we did bad or them rotating. It was more just a guy kind of puck jumping over a stick, and that's all that's going to happen. Like you said, we closed down with one shorthanded goal. So if you look at advanced stats right now, we're even on the PK, and that's big. And our power play got a few goals, so we won the special team battles. We won the weekend.
Biggest special team battle of the night. Go back to Sunday, late or early mid third period. That extended 5-on-3 for 1:20. They knew how important it was in a tie game, 2-2. They knew how important it was. They called timeout to rally the troops and figure things out. Take us inside that huddle. What are you telling to those three you're putting out there? Because you're keeping them out there pretty much for the entire minute.
Yeah,
20.
with that 5-on-3, we knew we had to be a little bit more aggressive than usual. They like to walk in. We kill a certain way, and but I thought Lister and Barks, man, they just followed what we spoke about, and they were coming a little bit higher than we do usual on the 5-on-3. They did everything great. You are going to give shots. Is where do you give the shots from? And we knew where we wanted to get them from. And I always say your goalie's your best penalty killer. And when Cavi had to make a few saves, he made a few saves, and we were good to go. So that was a big moment for us. I can't wait to get a 5-on-3. It seems like we're getting a lot against us, but we don't even practice 5-on-3 because we never have any. But yeah, we had to kill another minute and a half of 5-on-3, and they were doing so well that at the 45, when we had a whistle, I had to call a timeout and put those guys back because I knew it was a moment of the game.
Yeah.
And then, of course, our power play gets a power play, and then we do what we have to do in the power play.
Right, because they had scored to tie the game in the last 30 seconds of the second period. They get the goal there. You're right. That was the moment of the game.
Mm-hmm.
Was there during that timeout, was there any consideration of changing up the three, or did you just want to get the timeout, keep those three out?
As soon as the whistle happened, I knew. Yeah. I knew I was keeping those three because we were missing Wilkes. We were missing a lot of those guys. Hags. Yeah. We were missing a lot of guys that kill.
Durham, well.
Yeah, we were missing a lot of guys, so we had to keep those three. And we celebrated after the game. We celebrate those little things, and I think those three players and our goalie Mario was the difference of the game because if we don't kill that, I don't think we're coming back. By killing that, it gave us all the confidence to continue. I thought after that, the third period, they didn't touch the puck much after that, so it was just beautiful.
Rivermen get a power play, and then the rest, as they say, is history. Power play goal, hang on, 3-2 victory.
Yeah, and that's hockey, man. That's the little moments. Playing shorthanded, we only had 12 regular guys in the lineup. We had Nate Chastain playing regular. We had Mitch playing regular, and just shows you the type of character I have in the locker room. I'm a fortunate coach to have that character, and character's never been in doubt all year because I knew my leadership group. But now I think add to that character and identity of how to play to be successful. Hopefully we can bottle that up and continue. Now it's been 4 games in a row that we played the right way. Hopefully we can just continue that way.
Now, looking at that last Sunday game, from that leadership, from that really gutsy performance, because like you said, you're missing some key guys. You're already missing Alec Bear and Zach Wilkie due to suspension. You're missing Alec Hageman due to suspension. You're also missing Andrew Durham due to suspension. Renat Dadajana, Tristan Trudel. That's a lot of guys that you're missing. And you're also bringing in Nate Chastain. Like you said, he's playing a regular shift. Mitch McPherson, who hasn't played much, just got off upper body IR. He's playing a regular shift. So you're missing a lot of guys and a lot of skilled players. But yet, you find a way to win. Why was that Sunday game so impactful, not only for the identity, but for building? We talk about building a lot on this show. Why was that Sunday game so important for building forward towards
because the game before, you lose 2 of your best players. You finish that game with 12 regular fours for a period and a half, 2 periods. You get in the 3rd and 3 with only 12 regulars, and you're asking Nate Chastain, that I love to death. I think he's one of the smartest player I've ever coached, but you're asking him to come in and play a regular shift, Mitch McPherson, and just the character of that win. And we knew our special team was going to be important since we had only 12 regulars, and they just came through. Our power play was 2 for 3. Like we said, we gave up that one goal that Ernie just jumped over his stick, unfortunately, on the PK, but our special teams won that game. And then 5-on-5, we actually played the same way we did the last 3 games before that. Just great offense, great defense, puck movement, understanding what they are, taking advantage of it, and just the buy-in of players. When you see it coming together like that and buying into one thing and one thing only is winning that day. And I don't know if you got, I don't know if fans see all this, but we had block shots that guys were just like, that was playoff mode block shots.
Yeah.
Like guys were just throwing themselves in front of that. Yeah, whatever it took to win that game. Like the Mike Gillette had 2 or 3 big blocks. So everybody on the team doing what they had to do to be successful and having, I call it the eyes.
Yeah.
On the bench, it was so easy to coach because you knew whatever you were going to do was going to work because everybody had the eyes to be successful. Like they were dialed in. And that as a coach, you can't ask for more. Even if you lose that game, when you have a group of guys that go all out and want to win so badly, win or lose, you're just, you're really, really happy as a head coach.
Like you said, 4 straight games, things starting to come together for the Peoria Rivermen. Are things coming together at the right time of the season for you?
I think so, and I hope so. But again, it's about understanding the process, and as coaches, making sure that they keep, believing in what we do and what we want to accomplish here, year in, year out. And we understand also, some of our leaders, the Alec Agaman, those guys, is their last year here in Peoria. So we want to make it a special year for those guys. And for that, you have to come together as a team. And right now we're seeing the fruits of the labor all year, us working together to, bring that team together. Nothing getting in our way of having the right mentality, having the right team mentality. I believe that we went through a lot of adversity this year, and I believe that's great to build character. And that's how you grow as a team. And I think we're starting to, I say leadership is understanding yourself. I think they're starting to understand who they are.
Well, you got to understand also this. There's only about 7 weeks left to go in the regular season before playoffs. We're starting to come down to it. And the Rivermen closing out the month of February with a home against the Evansville Thunderbolts. Friday here at home, Scooby-Doo night. Saturday on the road in Evansville. It's nice that this is the longest road trip the Rivermen have yet this year. 5 hours down the road to Evansville, Indiana.
That's all we have left. But like I said 2 months ago, we went through a lot of road trips and a lot of like hard 3-3s and stuff like that. So finally, we just played our last 3-3. Now we have 2 games a weekend everywhere. And like you said, our longest road trip is going to be Evansville, which it's nice. It's hard to play there though, but it's just a nice little road trip, 5 hours away, not too hard. And it's going to be nice to get some home cooking here for the next few weeks.
Absolutely. So, again, face off this Friday night at 7:15 p.m. The first 1,000 fans through the door will receive a free Rivermen mug, courtesy of Wilson Services. Rivermen wearing specialty Scooby-Doo uniforms for Scooby-Doo night presented by Sun Collectors. Guy, should be a fantastic weekend. Can't wait to talk to you again.
Merci, mon ami.
Merci, mon ami. For Rivermen head coach Jean-Guy Trudel, I'm Jason Ruff. This has been Trudel's Take, presented by Premier Epoxy.